Well, here we go again. So, now that we've got the gaskets for the fuel filter there, what I've done is I just put a pump on and pumped fuel up to there, so that the engine isn't working as hard to actually get it all the way through to the carb. So I think what I'm going to do is temporarily stick the battery on and just give it a quick turn over, see if we can get some fuel through to the carb. So yeah, here we go. So let's have the ignition. Where's the ignition here? Oh, along there. Okay, ignition is on. So, in the words of Derek, if I can get my leg in. So, in the words of Derek, bring the thunder. Let's give it a bit of assistance there. I really need to find my tripod. Oops. Way too much. Perfect. Everything is out of the way there. Okay. Bring the thunder. Take two. Yeah, don't worry, this smoke is due to the oil inside the engine, and let's see if we can just do a bit of still do not seem to be getting fuel through to the carb. Tell you what, let me just turn this ignition off for a moment. And I'm going to crack this nut off, see what we've got going on under there, see why we're not getting fuel. Okay, so we've got that disconnected now, and hitting the don't know if you can hear that, but that is pulling nothing. That is just air, so I'm going to go back through the system, just check it, see what's going on. Oh, giant butterfly. Anyway. Oh, we were getting fuel a minute ago. Interesting. I was getting fuel a couple of seconds ago, picked up the camera, and now we're not. Okay, so we seem to have some sort of blockage between the filter there and the pump. Yeah, the pipe, this here, you can blow on it and suck on it, and it's yeah, it's not doing what it's meant to do. So yeah, a little bit of troubleshooting here. See if follow the pipe around the engine bay, just make sure it isn't kinked or damaged in any way. So yeah, that's the next step. Okay, I now believe the pump is good, and I found the issue. It seems to be this metal line that runs across the front of the engine. I've tried blowing through it, you just can't, so I'm going to try getting some compressed air on it, see if I can get it to clear. If not, it's just probably going to have to be replaced. That's as simple as that. Okay, so here is what we're doing. We have cut the section out that goes around the front of the engine. We will order one and put the correct one on eventually, but we're looking at a week at least to get it here, maybe more, so we need to get this moving along. So plan is put a piece of metal in between the two. Where are we at? Plan is put a piece of metal between the two ends and call it good for now. That'll get the engine running, hopefully. Damn, this thing doesn't want to run. Well, we have been working away there. I've redone some of the line and we do seem to be getting gasoline through. I mean, that is perfect, squirt that. So let's get this hooked back up and let's try it again. Well, this time everything's all pumped up. I think, yeah, I've got everything reconnected down there. Let's reconnect the battery. Let's turn on the ignition. And put my leg over and here we go. Yes. Still a lot of oil smoke, but some of that's just off the two-stroke I've put in, and some of that's off the, probably what's off what I put down the cylinders, but hell yeah, I mean, she was trying to idle everywhere quite nicely by herself. Remember, there's been no carbs set up or anything, this is basically just a bit of timing, and yeah. Well, I think we can call that a pretty decent success. Obviously I don't want to run it too long because there's no water pump or anything hooked up, but yeah, I mean, more than happy with that. More than happy with that. So, let the smoke clear a little bit, and I think the next thing is, may as well try and get into those pedals, get them sorted out, and yeah, water pump, we're still waiting on a gasket, so not really going to be able to do much with that. But if I can get the pedals all connected up and everything, maybe even able to start working on the brakes. Here is my tip of the day. If you are doing one of these, put the throttle pedal on before you put the tub onto the frame, because they are bloody awful to get into. So what I've ended up having to do is basically stick it in place with a magnet and then crawl underneath and get the first bolt started. And it's a nut and bolt. I thought I might have been able to just get my hand in here, but I can't. So that's what I've done. Anyway, I've got the first one in, let's get the second one in. Well, there we go. We have the throttle pedal. So, first one down, two more to go. Okay, So, looks like it's gonna rain, but meanwhile I'm on working around these holes for the pedals. Now they don't quite line up, so got to make a few adjustments. So I've got to figure out how to enlarge these and make it look nice and tidy at the same time. Yeah. Not quite sure how I'm going to do this. Plasma cutter would be perfect right now, but don't have one, so yeah. So just a quick update. Passenger seat in, bolted down. All the pedals are in, bolted down correctly. And just on now putting the driver's seat in. Yeah. Well, things are moving along. Got the rear frame on for the canvas top. Windshield trim is in. Okay, don't stand directly in the sun, John. Now the seat, where those 3 bolts are there, I was talking to somebody yesterday who is knows a little bit more about these, and basically there is about a 1 inch thick piece of wood. It's meant to go under this bit here anyway, raise the seat up a little bit. Other things, we've got the water pump pulley now, also got the water pump gasket. So this morning the first thing I'm going to do is actually take that water pump off, and then we are go around to a buddy's place, get the old one pressed off, put that one on, get the water pump back on, and then we can get water in the cooling system. Also, hopefully I'll get the exhaust done today. Part of the pipe is over there, there's a new muffler and everything, so yeah, we are rolling along. So, got the water pump removed there, just going to sit him down here for the moment, and put that pulley down there with him. So, just, we'll get that done a little bit later. It's not quite 6 AM at the moment, so I know my buddy Chris isn't going to be out of bed yet. And yeah, I don't think he'd appreciate being woken up at this time. So, we'll leave that till later, but I've now got the exhaust pipe out. Just laying it out roughly. It was, I believe, a new pipe many years ago, and it's just been sat in a garage somewhere. So that is just surface rust on there, so I'm going to clean all that up. And then we also have the muffler that goes with it. That goes something like that. Very simple system, I mean there's nothing to it. So I do have the bracket over there, I painted that recently, so yeah. Okay, so yeah, having a little bit of a minor setback. Just under there, that's the base of the exhaust manifold. One side, I don't know if you can see that down there, probably not, but it's actually just a nut and bolt. This other side here is it's basically threaded into the manifold, and I've got to find a bolt that'll go in there. I'm assuming it had probably a stud in there at some point, but it's been screwed out, so yeah. I'm having difficulty actually finding something with the right thread that fits, and there we are. We're messing about with that at the moment. Well, there we have the pump done. It's yeah, it wasn't too bad. The old one pressed out quite nicely, and then this one just pressed straight back on. So before I continue with the exhaust, I'm going to get this bolted up, and then yeah, that's that done. We'll get the radiator hoses back on, and yeah, find a belt, and we're all done there. So yeah, cool. Okay, so had a trial fit of the exhaust. Everything fits quite nicely. So, given that there doesn't appear to be a gasket for this, I've just given it a good smearing there of exhaust sealer. So I'm going to get that up into position now. I'll get it bolted up and then start working on the muffler. But yeah, water pump is done and now in place. So the radiator hose is hooked up. I'm not putting any water in until I've got this exhaust pipe all hooked up, mainly because I will inevitably spill some, and I just don't want to be lying on a wet floor. So yeah, anyway, we'll get this done, get water in, get her fired up, and yeah, see what she idles like. Oh yeah, do have to put the fan back on. I think the fan needs painted black, I'm not sure. Do have to reference one of the books. The original one is yellow, obviously, and so yeah, I'm not sure whether that's the correct colour or what. But anyway, even if it needs painting black, it'll only take a moment or two. So yeah. Okay, so got the fan now tightened up properly. The exhaust is all tightened to the manifold, and we're now just down here working with the muffler. Now, I've looked at I've found 2 photographs online of how the muffler's set up, and they're both different. I've had a look at the other GP, and it's different from those two. So I don't think I'm going to have another look online again. Got a couple of books that I've got a lend of. I'm going to sit and have a quick flick through them, see how they are done in there, just to get a general idea of what it's meant to look like. Or it could simply be you just make it fit whichever way you can. I'm not sure yet. So yeah, I will be back to this shortly. I'm still working over the muffler. We're having to make a few modifications here. This pipe, that is as far as I can get the muffler to slide onto it. So what I'm going to have to do is maybe cut it about there, because it's the back end of the muffler, the actual tailpipe is right up against the tyre. So yeah, I need to shorten that down a little bit, but other than that, it looks like it's going to go quite easily. I am going to have to come up with my own brackets, because the original mounts on this tub are just done. They've got a captive nut in there and it's just butchered, so I'm going to have to figure something out with that. But you know, that's how it goes with these things. Okay, so got the exhaust all bolted up and everything. I've temporarily got a bungee on there just to support the rear of it, because we don't have the exhaust support bracket yet. So just, you know, so it's not flapping around. Anyway, let's just see if we can give this a blast, see what she sounds like. Come on, old girl, fire up. There we go. Well, she's still loud, but she's a lot quieter than she was. I need to go over this whole thing anyway, and once I got the brackets on, I need to figure out where everything is, where she's blowing, because obviously I could hear her blow there. So, but right now, and what has happened here? We have just dumped oil everywhere. What the f*** has just happened? Oil filter. We have. Oh, well, today's disaster. Well, yeah, oil filter was loose. Now, we know that oil filter was not loose, because we've had this engine started several times. But few buddies around, poking around, looking at things, checking things out. I'm assuming one of them cracked the oil filter because they were talking about these being notorious for leaking around the top gasket. So, yes. Anyway, it is what it is. You know what? It is what it is. You can't. Sometimes, insert expletive just happens. So, got some kitty litter down, leave that overnight, let that soak up, and yeah, just come back to this tomorrow. But exhaust sounds okay anyway. It does sound like it does have a blow on it somewhere on the it's like a flexible section in the pipe, but I'll figure that out tomorrow. Tonight I'm just going to let this dry up. I'll get some more oil in it first thing, and then we'll figure it out from there. Well, once again, we are working on the exhaust system. Now, yesterday I was having issues getting the actual exhaust brackets and everything to line up, and just brackets in general. So today what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the ones off the Suzuki frame here. They're rusty, but they're in decent shape, so I'll take them off, clean them up, and we'll get them mounted onto the Jeep, and that should suspend the exhaust system just nicely there. I know it's not factory, I know it's not original, but it is what it is, you know. Like I said right at the beginning, this isn't a full restoration, it is just a build to get a nice Jeep together, something that's usable, something that can be driven around the place, and yeah, sometimes you just got to use what you've got. So my original idea was the actual exhaust straps, you know, like the thick pieces of rubber, but we haven't been able to get any. Surprise, surprise. I don't know. You would think after all the lockdowns and everything the supply chain would be returning to normal, but there are just some things that are just difficult to get. Anyway, that aside, yeah, got the angle grinder. I'm just going to chop the brackets off, and yeah, we'll get on with it. Well, there we go. Exhaust system is now mounted. The brackets I've made up out of the Suzuki ones, they are pretty close to what I can see on the other Jeep. I mean, they're in a different location because the mounting points on this tub are in a different location, but otherwise, you know, I think they'll look okay. Good morning. Well, here we are following the oil is now just about dried up, so that rather than messing about with the old filter and everything, I've stuck a new one in, new filter, new seals and all of that, so I'm going to give her a quick start up, just make sure that oil canister is not leaking again. So I had a chat with a couple of the guys yesterday. Obviously nobody opened it, but you know, it's not leaked all this time, and all of a sudden yesterday fire it up and it's squirting oil everywhere, so you know, whatever, new day, new frame of mind, let's get on with it. Well, would appear we ran out of gas. Didn't have a lot in the tank, it's about half a gallon, so I'll have to run out later and get some, but cranking it over on the starter, doesn't seem to be any leaks or anything like that, so it's all new seals, so it's, you know, we can call it good for the time being, but yeah, I need to run out later, get some more fuel, but okay, so moving along, got the fan belt on, dynamo is all tightened up, got the voltage regulator on, got it still connect to the dynamo. But meanwhile, I've just painted the wheel carrier. I'll finish off the dynamo while that is drying, then I'll get that mounted to the rear there. Well, there we go, that's the voltage regulator now connected. Now, with respect to the wiring diagram that I had mentioned in one of the previous videos, I am still working on it. It is almost complete, and I should have it on a link to it in the videos by the time this video goes up. I've just been busy on this, I've been busy on the transit, a couple of other things that I've been working on, and it's just time has been the enemy. So yeah, I will have that available, like I say, by the time this video goes up, so keep an eye out for it. I've got to put a few more things on. Spare wheel carrier is now on, and I'm moving to the headlights. Now, obviously I've dismantled the electrical block here. Reason being is I've got to then wire up the actual headlamp buckets. So just quickly pop the cables off, slide them through. Got a ground there, ground cable comes out the back side and grounds to the body somewhere. Not sure where yet, but yeah, I thought I would do this side first because it's right next to the block. Do have the bracket in. This has got to be painted, but I'm just doing a mock-up at the moment to get everything kind of wherever it should be, and yeah, then we'll move on to the next. So, hasn't quite worked out. The European spec or the British spec sealed beam units are just slightly different from the housings. So I'm assuming this is down to differences between the US and the British actual sealed beam units. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them to one side because I don't want to get into modifying the housings just in case there's another set kicking about somewhere that are correct. So just, yeah, like I said, putting them to one side, and I'm going to move on to something else. Well, obviously I moved inside because it is starting to rain, but yeah, I've got the spare wheel mounted up there now. Lights, well, the buckets and everything are in. I don't know how well you're seeing that, but buckets and everything are in. Harness has actually ran into them. Got to mess about with them to get those seal beams to work, but we should be able to get them. I'm not too concerned about them. So heard from Andy, doesn't have any others, so yeah, we'll make them work. Well guys, this is where I'm going to end the video. Now I know it's going to be another shortish one. I'm not sure how much footage I've got, but I think it's going to be a little bit shorter than normal. Unfortunately, I've got work to do on the Astra, and then I'm going to be away for 3 days, so you know, that's how life rolls sometimes. So there we have it. You know the drill. Keep those algorithms happy and come back and see me sometime. Have a good one. Take 2.